Welcome to Building a Nuclear-Free World talk story today. My name is Jose Barzola from the Matsunaga Institute for Peace at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Our talk story today is on thoughts and messages from young people in Hiroshima with Momoka Narasaki and with myself as well, moderating it. Thank you for joining us to learn about the tragic impact of nuclear bombs and also further about the communities that this has affected. This talk story series is actually part of a Building a Nuclear-Free World exhibit. It's currently available at the Hamilton Library Bridge Gallery here at the University of Hawaii at Manoa till April 28th, and it's hosted by the Matsunaga Institute and the National Nagasaki Memorial Hall for the atomic bomb exhibition. And with the continuous threat of nuclear devastation around the world, learning about and working to build a nuclear-free world has never been more timely. This definitely building the series continues the Matsunaga Institute's long engagement with public outreach on the nuclear threat, which began in 1995 for the 50th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We mounted an exhibition for 50 years of the bomb. Since then, the exhibition has been updated and mounted most recently in 2018, 2020. And this year's exhibit was actually a donation by the Hiroshima Atomic Bomb Museum. So it has been truly a wonderful honor to be in great collaboration with so many different communities. In addition to viewing the exhibition, you're also invited to attend Senator Spark Matsunaga's portion of the exhibit on peace and the ever-urgent need to build a nuclear-free world. And we have many of programming throughout the month of March and April surrounding this exhibition. Thank you for joining us today to learn from Momoka Narasaki, who will share interviews with young people in Hiroshima to find out what messages they want to convey from Hiroshima to the world. Ms. Narasaki is dedicated to sharing Hiroshima's history and lessons with people from around the world. Our special guest today is Momoka Narasaki, who is dedicated to sharing Hiroshima's history lessons. She began working as an international youth volunteer in Hiroshima Prefecture, giving tourists international guests and participating in environmental protection activities. In 2022, she joined Peace Cultural Village, where PCV, where they run a half-day learning and exchange peace mentorship program for students visiting Hiroshima that is curated by the Hiroshima youth engaged in local peace activities. She's also a member of the Magical Trip Hiroshima Guides and the Certified Hiroshima Prefecture Regional Interpreter Guide. So thank you so much for being here today. And I'm gonna get us started and turn it over to you to educate us a little bit about youth in Hiroshima.
Thank you, Hazu-san. So let me share my screen first. Okay, once again, my name is Momoka Narasaki, and thank you so much for joining this session today. So let me briefly introduce myself first. I was born in Hiroshima, but I grew up in three cities in Japan: Tottori, Okayama, and Hiroshima. And although my great-grandparents, they did not export to the atomic bomb, they are from Hiroshima, and my mother too. So I grew up hearing about what happened in Hiroshima from a very young age. But actually, this is not the reason why I started these peace-related activities. So I'll tell you more about it later. But as Hazu-san introduced, I am currently working at a nonprofit organization, Peace Culture Village, PCV, in Hiroshima. And we're basically running tours and workshops for students who come to Hiroshima as a school trips. And also I work as a tour guide myself too. And in my everyday life, I like to watch Netflix and go to the gym. And I have a dog, so I love going out with him. And once again, thank you so much for joining this session today. And especially thank you so much, Jose-san, for inviting me to such a wonderful opportunity event. And I'd like to also thank Hiromi-san and Naomi-san here for taking care of me while I'm staying in Hawaii. So by the way, I usually work at Hiroshima, but this is my spring vacation and I am in Hawaii. I actually arrived yesterday morning. But yeah, thank you so much. And so today, I am going to talk about 6 topics. And the last 2 topics, I am going to share the interview video. And so I'm so excited to introduce my members in Hiroshima to you. guys. So yeah, please wait for it. But yeah, so let me start by telling you why I decided to do this kind of work. So the reason why I started to do this work is I went to Canada when I was 17 years old, and this experience changed me a lot. And this led me to join these peace-related activities. So 2017, I went Canada as a short study abroad. And it was awesome experience because actually at a time I was going through a difficult time going to school, and I couldn't get out of my house for almost whole 2 years. The reason why I was so struggled and I was depressed was because I couldn't fit in the atmosphere in the class in the high school at the time. And I strongly felt that I cannot stand out and I have to be pretend someone else so that I won't be disliked by classmate. And that was like a big pressure for me. And at first, it was a very small stress for me, but it was like getting bigger and bigger stress for me. And I eventually started to spend more time at house. And yeah, but one day, one of my high school teachers, she recommended that I go to Canada. And it was a very first experience for me to go abroad. So I was really scared and nervous. But once I arrived at Canada, I was very moved by looked at the outside world for the first time. And I was really surprised that there are many people with different ideas, values, and identity in the world. And this experience gave me courage and changed me. So I started to think that I want to know about the world and want to be engaged with people from around the world. So this led me to join the Hiroshima International Youth Volunteer Program after I returned to Japan. So this is me, and this is the day of very, very first time being a tour guide at Pittsburgh. And through these activities, I basically introduced Japanese culture and Hiroshima to guests from around the world. And one of our activities was to guide a guest along the Pittsburgh in Hiroshima. And in fact, it was almost the first time that I learned about Pittsburgh and the atomic bombing of Hiroshima deeply. Now, many of you might think why? Because as I mentioned, I have my family who has roots in Hiroshima. And I also said that I was growing up hearing about what happened in Hiroshima. But actually, until then, I have never learned about it on my own because I thought like learning about Hiroshima and atomic bombing is just a scary thing. In fact, there are many such children in Japan. They think that the museum is a scary place and the peace education, which is mandatory in Hiroshima, is a time to listen to scary stories. The reason why I was really scared on this topic was because my mother here told me that peace studies were always scary when she was a child. And also, this is my great grandma. She did not export the bomb, but she actually experienced the era of war in the town of Hiroshima, like other states of Hiroshima. But she never talked about her experience because she has many traumatic things during the time. So from a young age, I really felt that this kind of topic and atomic bombing is something that I cannot ask to the people. And so yeah, when I first visited the Peace Memorial Museum at the age of 15, I walked past it like I was going to the haunted house with my eyes closed. So I started to learn about Hiroshima well after I got a chance to guide a guest. Also, I thought that peace activities were something that only a limited number of smart people could do. So I was very hesitant to join these activities at first. But once I actually welcomed the guest and started working with young people who pursued for peace together in Hiroshima, I began to realize that just having a dialogue about peace with many people like this is already a very, very important activity for creating peace. So this is why I decided to continue doing this work. Although all tours were canceled after COVID-19, I still continue to give tours to students on school trips from all over Japan. But now the normal life is getting back, and many guests are also returning to Hiroshima and Pittsburgh from all over the world. And of course, I am so happy to be able to come to Hawaii like this too. So this is a brief introduction of what makes me think of doing this activity. But from here, I will share my notice and thoughts from my experience providing the tour for the guests from all over the globe. Let me quickly ask this question for you all. So what do you imagine when you hear the word Hiroshima? Please use the chat box to write your answers. Anything is okay, and English, Japanese, whichever you want. Please write your answers, as many as you can. Thank you, Hazu-san. Before visiting Hiroshima, it was atomic bomb. Yeah. So actually, I am going to talk about this more later. But many people in the world, they think Hiroshima equals atomic bombing. Hiroshima equals black and white photos. Thank you. Imagine devastation, illness, sickness, ongoing for many years. Thank you so much. Yeah. This is also something related to atomic bombing, the tragedy, like on August 1945. Oh, afterwards, I see such a diversity, resilience, inspiration for the future. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think like current Hiroshima is more colorful and bustling town. So I'm very happy that Hode-san felt that in Hiroshima. Thank you. I see that Naomi-san is trying to type. So I will wait a little bit more.
I'll just chime in really quickly just to elaborate on my experience. I mean, if I didn't know I was in Hiroshima, I would just be like, oh, this is a very well-built city, and you wouldn't, there's besides the, the Peace Park and the Atomic Bomb Museums and a few buildings that are held, like you can be in certain parts of Hiroshima, you could feel like you're just in any city in Japan for the most part sometimes.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, that's very true. Like, there is no radiation anymore, and it's very bustling and busy town now. Thank you. And thank you so much, Naomi-san. I thought the same way before my visit to Hiroshima, but haven't visited it. I came to appreciate its rich history and what a modern Brilliant, beautiful city now. Lots of hope there now. Thank you so much. So a lot of people are talking about the reconstruction of Hiroshima. Thank you so much. So the reason why I asked this question is that what I found to be the biggest difference is the difference in the image of Hiroshima. We often talk in our programs in PCB that if you do a Google search for Hiroshima in Japanese and Hiroshima in English, by the way, this is the Japanese letter, Hiroshima, and if you Google search like Hiroshima Japanese and Hiroshima English, you get completely different pictures. So many Japanese people associate Hiroshima with the image of atomic bomb, of course, but not only that bombing, but also Miyajima, which is registered as a World Heritage Site. This is the shrine in Miyajima. And also local foods, okonomiyaki and momiji manju. And those are so good. And also more colorful pictures come to their mind. However, when you Google Hiroshima in English like this, many black and white photos come up like this one. Yeah. The thing is that there are still many people in the world who think that Hiroshima is a still burned out city with radiation remaining. In fact, many of my colleagues, when they went abroad, said, I'm from Hiroshima, and many people asked them, is Hiroshima a place where people can live? Is that okay? Yeah, so they were very shocked to hear that. But what is more shocking to them was that they were not able to answer to this question by their own words, even though they had peace education from a young age. Of course, they know that the city of Hiroshima was reconstructed to a beautiful town, but they couldn't answer how. How was it possible? How recovered to this beautiful town? Actually, some of them started their activities because they were frustrated by this experience. I also have actually been asked on a tour, like, are the people in Hiroshima still affected by radiation? But answer is no. There is no radiation left in Hiroshima now, and many people are living normal lives. And the place where the atomic bomb dome over here is located the most central part of Hiroshima. And this is the Peace Memorial Park, and this is Aioi Bridge. This bridge is famous for this T shape. And this was the original target when they dropped the bomb on the Hiroshima, because this T shape was very clear to see from the sky. But yeah, as you can see, the Hiroshima city is now recovered to the beautiful town, and it is the 12th most populated prefecture among the 47 prefectures in Japan. And in fact, there are foreign members who were so impressed by the reconstruction of Hiroshima, and they decided to become tour guides, and they decided to join our team. And because of that, because they moved to this reconstruction of Hiroshima. But how was it possible to rebuild the whole Hiroshima city? So from here, I am going to talk about the day of August 6, 1945. So please imagine what happened to the day, what happened on the city of Hiroshima while listening to my talk. So on Monday, August 6, 1945, at 8:15 a.m. in the morning, an atomic bomb was dropped on the city of Hiroshima. In an instant, the city, which had been bustling with people, was completely destroyed. It is estimated that there were about 350,000 people in Hiroshima at a time, and it is said that about 140,000 people died by the end of the year. Of course, this number is an estimate. And there are so many people who are not identified, and there are many more who died after 1945 due to the after effect of radiation. But even in such situation, people in Hiroshima and even from other cities cooperated and supported each other for the reconstruction of the city. 2 days after the bombing, the Hiroshima branch of the Bank of Japan resumed operations in some part of the country. And 3 days after, streetcars began running in some sections. Then a month later, schools reopened without roofs and walls, and Hiroshima gradually returned to a more normal life. Later, Peace Memorial Park and Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum were completed, and Hiroshima continues to convey peace today as a city of peace culture. The city of Hiroshima has many streets and photos named after peace. And many visitors come from around the world to learn about peace through the atomic bombing of Hiroshima. In fact, we have a video of the interview with the last August 6 with visitors to Pittsburgh, asking them, what does peace mean to you? Or what is your thing to create peaceful world? And of course, on August 6th is a very, very important day for all of us. And every year, a ceremony is held in Pittsburgh. Now, I'd like to show you a video of the interview. So let's hear what kind of peace the people who gathered on the day imagine.
So the idea is we're coming up asking people what is like your things that you can do for peace, or like it's related to your, for example, your work for peace.
私の平和×〇〇は平和×作りになります。私は平和のために笑顔が大切だと思っています。笑顔になるためには何か創造物が必要。演劇だったりミュージカル、歌だったり曲だったり、いろんなものを作ることで笑顔を作ることができるんじゃないかって考えています。なので皆さんも一緒に平和を作っていきましょう。
平和×〇〇は私は笑顔にしました。理由はみんなが笑顔になると周りの人たちも明るくなっていくと思ったからです。
別のバックグラウンドを持っても、それぞれの人々をアクセプトする、そういう感じのイメージがあるので、僕は平和と自由をしました。
みんなのいろんなことのオリジンストーリー、その元となった物語を知ることで、相手の人だか目の前のことが何も怖くなくなる、そして平和につながるっていうことが自分にとっての平和×オリジンな意味で、この子は、自分のオリジンのキャラクターです。はい。
平和×遊び、人ってなんか遊んでる時が一番ワクワクしてて、なんかもう心から楽しんでる状態かなと思ってて、なんかそんな状態が僕にとっては平和なのかな。
My name is Chloe. Today is 8/6, which is the anniversary of the bomb being dropped on Hiroshima. Peace is peace and stories. When we hear about one other person, our hearts can be moved. So I think it's very important to share stories of peace at a very small level, and that can make a very big change. Thank you so much.
世界でもだけど、災害が、自然の災害が いろんなことが起こっているので、普段から災害に、あった時に、もう今はもう会う前提で災害にあった時に備えてみんなの命を守って大切な人の命も守れるようにっていうふうに活動してます。
So my thing is space and AI. AI is this new technology that's really changing how society works, and I think some people shy away from it, and it's like think about the ethics of it. But the technology is coming regardless, so we need to have people who are ethical working in AI to make society more peaceful and make sure that AI is used in a safe and ethical way.
私は平和かける言葉と書きました。私は日本語の先生をしています。言葉を知ることでもっと仲良くなれると思っています。
私の平和かけ〇〇は音楽です。理由は音楽を好きな気持ちに国は関係ないからです。
私は平和かける知ると書きました。どんなこともまず知ることが大事で、私自身も知っていきたいし、私も誰かの知るきっかけを作れるようになりたいです。私は平和かける歴史という言葉にしました。人類の歴史って戦争の繰り返しだっていうことがすごくよく分かって、なので平和を知るっていうのは歴史は欠かせないと思うし、歴史を知ることで平和を作っていくっていうことができると思ったので、私はこの言葉を選びました。
僕が普段新聞社に勤めてるんですけど、本当に今過渡期でもう毎週のようにその被爆者の方の訃報っていうのが入ってきてる状況なんです。でも我々子供の頃っていうのはいろんな方にこう当時の話を聞くことができたんですけど、多分その今からはそういうことができなくなってくると思います。でおまけにその小中学生ってきっとその平和の話をしてもちょっとこうとっつきにくいんじゃないかなっていうのはすごくやっぱり感じているので、なんかこう新しい切り口で若い方にその興味を持ってもらえるような情報発信っていうのを進めていきたいと思っております。
私は平和かける強い思いにしました。これを選んだ理由は、核兵器とかが使用されそうな今のご時世、強い思いを持ち続けてないと、流されてしまいがちなところもあるので、その強い思いを持っていつか自分にもう少し力が伝える力とかがついてきたら、その思いを伝えていけるようにしていきたいからです。
大体兵器がないと戦争もできないし、あとなくても別になくなったらもう戦争じゃなくてもうなんか互いに助けることができると思うからです。
私は平和かける出会いって書きました。これまでの人生を振り返って一人との出会いからつながったご縁でまた新しいご縁があったり、そういったところで平和活動もやってきたので、出会いをたくさんつなげていくことで平和が作れるのかなっていうふうに思います。
Peace and Seismology. I work from the Department of Science and Technology in the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology. We try to detect also nuclear waveforms. And we try to report it to the CTBTO. Thank you. Peace.
私の平和かける〇〇は音楽です。自分がしんどかった時に音楽に救ってもらったので、音楽がいいなと思いました。
私の平和は笑顔です。理由はみんなが笑顔になったらいいと思ったからです。
Oh, seismology. Oh.
平和かける平気の距離。
僕の平和かけ〇〇は笑顔です。
Peace in family is our fundamental.
僕らも音楽を通して平和を考える。
はい、私の平和かけ〇〇は平和かけ夢です。
Thank you. So as I said in the beginning, So as I said in the beginning, I would be very happy if peace activities are not something that only special people can do, but something that more people can easily imagine and pursuing their own peace. And actually, this activity was conducted by a group of young people in their teens and 20s who are working together as guide in Hiroshima. Actually, I interviewed them to find out what kind of thought they have about the activity and what kind of message they want to convey to the world. So now I am going to share the video next. Okay.
First question is, what is it like growing up in Hiroshima? I was born in Hiroshima and grew up in Hiroshima. I have spent almost all of my life here in Hiroshima. My hometown Hiroshima is a very beautiful city, filled with nature and urban and countryside well-balanced city. As a youth of Hiroshima, I have experienced peace education since I was a primary school student. Learning about what happened in Hiroshima in 1945 is a part of really important and necessary education for children in Hiroshima. The second question is, for creating a peaceful world, what is important, do you think? In my opinion, peace can be created by sustaining a good relationship with our family and friends. When I was a high school student, I joined an international event about peace with Japanese participants. One of the facilitators of the event told us the idea of making a peaceful world. She said, "Make friends abroad. If you do so, you will pay attention to the friends' countries, news, and updates, and you should never come up with an idea to fight against your friends' countries." I do agree with this idea, and that is the small, though really meaningful one step that each of us can contribute toward peace. The final question is, how was telling about Hiroshima to foreigners? Actually, in December last year, I guided American participants around the Peace Memorial Park. Honestly, I was quite nervous before that because it was my first time to guide in English, not my mother tongue. I always think that even in Japanese, telling the students about Hiroshima is really difficult, though in this case, I have to do that in English. However, soon after I started guiding, I found that I'm really enjoying communicating with the participants and feeling comfortable to guide in English thanks to the participants' atmosphere. They listened to what I said carefully and showed me their opinions. We respected each other and it was a really good time. Through the experience, I learned that our passion or empathy, which is would like to seek a peaceful world, can cross the border. That's it.
And what is an interesting fact about Hiroshima? A place with a lot of nature, sea, mountains, river, not too urban. Some good food, Hiroshima dialect, and Hiroshima people's love for Hiroshima. What is like growing up Hiroshima? It's good for me. I'm not sure, but I love Hiroshima. You know, it is neither very urban nor very rural, but has a lot of charm. I don't know much about life in other areas, so I'm speaking from my own perspective. However, what is completely different from other areas is that the words a bomb and peace are very close to me. I think this is even more true in my area because it is close to Peace Memorial Park. Maybe I visited the Peace Museum for the first time when I was 4 or 5 years old. Every year since then, I visited Peace Memorial Park during my peace education class at school. Went to the Peace Museum and listened to the story of Hibakusha. When I was in high school, I remember being surprised to hear that my friends from other prefecture were confused when they took the peace education class for the first time. What does peace mean to you? It's to be able to smile from the bottom of one's heart. For me, the keyword for peace is smile. Smile. When you smile, you naturally make the people around you smile. I believe that the more people smile, the more people around the world will smile. However, it is a little difficult to create from the heart, stress and daily fears and anxieties make it difficult to smile. To able to live every day smiling at a moment's notice, I think that is peace for me. For creating a peaceful world, what is important do you think? In my opinion, empathy is important to create a peaceful world because I think it is important to take someone's point of view. Once, why did he or she comes to such a statement or action? I think that by trying to know the other person, you will be less likely to hurt them. Hiroshima is the place where the atomic bomb was dropped. That is why it is so well known. But other aspects of Hiroshima are not so well known. Although not many times, some people still worry about radiation. I would like to continue to tour guiding the Peace Memorial Park for junior high school and high school student, and I would like to do something to connect with people overseas, as I believe that the G7 meeting will attract even more attention from around the world. And I still have concern about my English, but someday I would like to give tour in English. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Yusaku. I'm a university student in Hiroshima, and I usually work at the Peace Memorial Park in Hiroshima and doing a tour guide there for junior high school student and high school student coming from the outside of Hiroshima. I got a bunch of questions from Momo-san. Through answering those questions, I'm trying to express what I've got to experience and what I'm feeling right now. Then the first one is, it's kind of like an introduction question, so I'm gonna tell you guys about an interesting fact about Hiroshima. I would say Hiroshima is a not very urban area. It's not a compliment, but at the same time, Hiroshima is not very countryside area. Do you guys know the word chodoi, which means kind of comfortable in Japanese? So Hiroshima is a chodoi city for people to live in. It's good to me too. That's why I'm in here for 4 years as a student though. It's a good city. What I can recommend you guys beside nuclear bomb, and I would say I will recommend you guys to go to the stadium to watch baseball or basketball. There is a baseball team which called Carp Hiroshima. Carp is a fish carp. And then most of the residents in Hiroshima is big carp fans actually. And in addition to that, the Hiroshima is really famous for its local food, which is called okonomiyaki. It's kind of like Japanese pancake or something, but it's not sweet as pancake because we don't use sugar in it. You just come here and try it, or maybe you can look it up in the internet. And about the next question, actually I'm not from Hiroshima Prefecture, so I'm gonna tell you about how I felt when looking at what's going on in Hiroshima, especially the education. In elementary schools and then junior high schools, we have kind of free time. At the end of the semesters, we have nothing to do sometimes. Mostly in that kind of situation, we do recreations to get to know classmates more. But when it comes to doing that kind of stuff in Hiroshima, it's totally different. I would say the Hiroshima people would put the most emphasis on learning something about peace or nuclear weapon, so that they can learn many things about what had happened in the past time and then what they have to do in the coming future. And then they can have a time to think about their own opinions. I think it's very important for the younger generations. The next question. Since we didn't experience the moment of 1945, so it's hard for us to tell people what had happened exactly, just like Hibakushas. The things that I want to do is that to show my attitudes for the people who I'm gonna tell, that I am keep learning what had happened in the past time and from that moment. But at the same time, most of the Hibakushas are passing away these days because almost 18 years has been passed from the time. So yeah, it's getting a big mission for us younger generations. What peace means to me. I always think about these kind of questions, but I now think that peace is the situation that we can do what we want to do. For example, I live in Japan and I think I can do whatever I want. But when thinking about some areas which is experiencing the war or conflict right now, I can say that everyone is doing what they want. Because in that kind of area, people has to work under government as a workforce. I don't say the peace is the opposite of war. Yeah, again, the situation that the people can do what they want to do is a peace. Because they can think of what they really like and then they can just do it. That's so nice. So the next question. For creating a peaceful world, the important thing that I can think of is that, of course, it is important to learn from the past, what had happened in the past time, and then arrange the knowledge into a good future. But more important thing is to make friends with each other. It's kind of a childish idea, but let's say you are the president of a country, and then the one country is doing a mess against your country. But if you had a friend on that enemy country, do you want to start a fight against the country? You could think of that kind of idea, but it's kind of sad, right? The difference in perspectives of Hiroshima and the abroad. I just learned this, but in America, there is a way of thinking that the God dropped the bomb to save the life. And then I'm not super familiar with the religion. There are no like good and bad, but I thought it was interesting. Given my experience of doing a tour guide for foreign people, foreign friends, it was quite interesting experience to me because usually with the Japanese guests, there are no questions during the tour. especially during explaining. So they just listen to my talk. And then after that, everything got finished. They said blah blah blah. But when thinking about the American guests, they interrupted me talking and asked me something. That was the main difference that I thought. Thanks for the questions, Momo-san. And then this is conclusion of my answers. Thank you so much.
原爆のこと以外で広島のどんなところを知ってほしいですか？
In Hiroshima, there is one popular food called okonomiyaki, and then also my favorite place is Miyajima Island, and also just the beautiful city. I think when you hear Hiroshima, you guys would imagine like Hiroshima is where the bomb dropped, but today's Hiroshima is very beautiful. In the city, like you see a lot of greens, and if you go to the Miyajima Island, you see the beautiful shrine, and also okonomiyaki is the most popular food in Hiroshima, and local people also love it. If you guys come to Hiroshima, you should try all the 3 things. Bye!
So the first question is, what is an interesting fact in Hiroshima? For me, the interesting fact is that every student are taking peace education in school. They visit Peace Memorial Park and museums from elementary schools. Then they listen to the voices from the Hibakushas, the survivors of the atomic bomb. They learn what happened in Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. Then they think about what we can do to prevent the atomic bombs again.
So, what is an interesting fact about Hiroshima? My answer is history. It means pre-war 2%. That's interesting. How the city become bigger. For creating a peaceful world, what is important do you think? Find something happy every day. Every single day, even if it's small things, that's important to be happy every day. Besides the nuclear bomb, what would you like Hiroshima to be known for? That's amazing foods like okonomiyaki, oysters. The season is winter though, and then what else? Noodles, yeah, something like that. What is it like growing up in Hiroshima? I'm super lucky to born in here. I think so, because I could learn a lot of things what we should learn in our life for the peace. So, I had many experience to know about war, especially in Hiroshima. What does peace mean to you? My answer is love. Love is peace.
Aloha! I'm Aya. I'm studying in Hawaii.
What is an interesting fact about Hiroshima?
I think Hiroshima has 2 World Heritage Sites, Miyajima and Peace Memorial Park. I like both. I'm proud and thankful to be born in Hiroshima because I have had the opportunity to hear many stories from Hibakusha since I was a child.
How are the youth carrying on the message of the Hibakusha and their lessons?
So I'd like to learn together because I have I have no experience. Atomic bombs.
For creating a peaceful world, what do you think is important?
I think to know and I think to know each other or various people. For example, can have people and foreigners. So I tried to chat deaf or blind people. So now I learned sign language. So this means is I love you. This sign is used around the world. I love you.
All right. Okay, thank you so much. I think now all of you feel like I want to eat okonomiyaki and I want to visit Miyajima. But yeah, please contact us if you have any chance to visit Hiroshima. Okay. So as you can see, young people with various backgrounds are working in this way with various thoughts and motivations. And 70 years have passed since the atomic bombing, and many Hibakusha have begun to pass away, as Yusak-san mentioned. And it is said that we are the last generation to be able to hear the Hibakusha's testimony directly. So I would like to think about what we can do now and take actions so that the same mistakes will not be repeated. And one on the cenotaph of Memorial Monument for Hiroshima State of Peace, it says, "Let all souls here rest in peace, for we shall not repeat that evil." What are the mistakes? What we can do to prevent them from being repeated? When Hibakusha told me that thinking about this is the very, very important homework for all of us in the world to work on. So please think about this message very carefully. And I would be very happy if we could think together about how we can create a peaceful world. And this is the end of my presentation, but I will be very happy that if you contact me, if you message me and become friends, because as some of them mentioned in the video, I really want to make friends all over the world. Now I've been trying to learn English, and now I'm also learning Korean, and I really want to learn a lot of language and make friends all over the world. And I believe the friendship will save the world. So please message me. The information is here. So yeah, this is the end of my session presentation. Thank you so much. So go back to Hode-san.
Yes. Thank you so much for that insightful coverage. And I mean, one of the reasons I originally asked you to come on board was just I think it's been so important to get as many perspectives as possible, and especially from our youth, and especially, I mean, a big portion of what we do here is understanding perspectives and how important it is. Not only perspectives from folks from all over the world, but also from different ages and different generations, just because I think to better shape and find some common ground where we can all kind of continue to build relationships and move forward, that is ever so important. I mean, I think, yeah, relationship building is at the key of peace building, because it is always easier to move forward with folks who you have developed a relationship with, as opposed to complete strangers. So thank you for allowing us to learn about your community. I truly appreciate you opening up about your experiences and the lessons learned for today's dialogue. Thank you for your kindness, leadership, for putting together that the interviews. I know that was a process. I've done editing before, so thank you so much for that. because I think as we learn about the tragic impact of nuclear bombs and building a nuclear-free world, we need to make sure not only, lowering the amount of nuclear bombs out there, but also not forgetting about the communities and the folks that are living in these communities and how important it is. Last but not least, I'd love to thank you everybody who's joined today's event. I truly appreciate your support in joining us here for Building a Nuclear-Free World talk story about